Hi, my name is Kumar Jha, and I'm the founder of Opportunities Australia. And I'm here to talk to international students about how to find professional jobs in Australia. First of all, you get yourself the right mentor. If you find the right coach, half of the problem is solved. You need to have the right CV, you need to have the right communication skills, you need to network with the right people. So mentor can connect you with the right people in Australia. They can teach you a lot of cultural things and a lot of contacts, etc. So various things your mentor can provide to you. Then besides that, you can join as many startup hubs and as many networking groups as possible. You can do that. Then after you can look into PR. So depending on what your aims are to be in Australia, you can start working towards that. So in order to get PR, there might be job requirements. You might need sponsorship, etc. So look into those things. It requires a lot of time in order to do your homework. When you are international students, you can also get internships into organizations. So, it's great to have a paid internship, and that's legal also. But there have been students who have gone for unpaid internships as well. Not that I would advocate for that, but yeah, it's totally up to you. So look for a proper internship as well, because that could lead into a solid role. If those people like you, you can end up having a job in there, and then after, those people can actually sponsor you in Australia as well. So if you wanted to live in this beautiful country, your problem would be solved, and you would have a chance to be sponsored for a couple of years. I think 4 years is something that would be the requirement. I'm not a visa expert, but people have mentioned that to me. So if you are sponsored for around 4 years, you might have a chance to live in Australia. Then besides that, keep on working on your CV, and then keep on upskilling yourself, and also register with job providers as well. Having a nice job, that's the ultimate. So register with as many job providers in your town, and try to secure an interview with them as well. Face to face. These days it's all about Zoom meetings, but try to actually get a face to face, because what you achieve in a face to face meeting, you cannot achieve over Zoom. The human connect can only be established with face-to-face meetings. And then, yeah, network with the right people. I think people are the key. You are the end result of who you surround yourself with, right? So make sure to surround yourself with the right people. Always aim high, try to befriend, high profile CEOs, whoever, whatever your end market is. If you want to start a business, or if you want to get a job in, say, for example, Westpac, right? So you got to befriend with, the directors and, the C-level executives, etc. And they are going to be very helpful to you. LinkedIn has been so important for my success so far. It's been so beneficial. So the people I could never tap into, from government ministers and senior directors, big CEOs, etc. LinkedIn has just connected me with all those right people, and then I was able to secure meeting, and then after, later on, I could befriend people. So it's been amazing. So yeah, that's my answer to that. There are various platforms like Seek. Seek has been the most successful that I know of. LinkedIn has been very good as well. Then there's Career One, Zora, even Gumtree, Airtasker. Gumtree and Airtasker is for gig economy. So, if you're an international student and you couldn't get some senior roles, that you would dream to have, just in the meantime, you can get some smaller jobs, so that you can find from Airtasker and Gumtree. And then there are some other platforms as well. But the biggest one are Seek, Career One, Indeed, LinkedIn. And LinkedIn has made the process quite simple as well for many jobs. Perhaps 50% of jobs, it's very easy to apply. So yeah, keep on applying. It's so important to have a LinkedIn profile. That is your professional resume. So you got to, create a nice profile, put in as much detail as possible onto your LinkedIn, and then have as many endorsements from people who are relevant, who have worked with you, your colleagues and your university professors, the people who you have worked with, the people who you have studied with, as many people as possible. Get endorsements from those people, get recommendations from those people, and write good copy. So write good posts about yourself. So this is storytelling, right? So always pick right topics to talk about. So the way, the areas that you have shown interest in, that will dedicate, that will make people understand you better. My key interest that I talk about, even LinkedIn gives me a chance to add that to my profile. So the moment someone lands to my profile, they would see what are the key areas that I talk about. And some of those key areas are marketing, not-for-profit, politics, etc. So that straightens things up for people. So then they know exactly what my qualifications, what my abilities are, what my interests are as well. And I continue to talk in those areas. I continue to write in those areas as well. And write beautifully. There are some tricks about writing LinkedIn posts, which engages with people more. You got to write, bigger paragraphs. So of course you got to be very creative. You got to do spacing in between paragraphs, which is a bit silly, but this is how LinkedIn operates. So you got to give space between all those paragraphs, etc. You can also do, in the back of any pictures that you upload, there are SEO options as well. So you can hashtag, things behind your story, pictures, images. That could help you, spread your word amongst the right people. Say, for example, if you wanted to talk about marketing, well, you can hashtag marketing and communication, etc., behind the picture that you put on. And then besides that, regular posting on LinkedIn creates credibility on LinkedIn. So then LinkedIn ranks you high. So it's a very technical platform. So you have to continue to write on LinkedIn in order to get your profile high. An example here is I don't post on LinkedIn enough. I do have over 17,000 followers, but because I don't post on a regular basis, my posts aren't reached, amongst my 17,000 people. Anytime I post, something of mediocre or of good value, it would reach like 5 or 6,000. Yeah, so you have to continue posting, and actually, you have to continue posting good content, because if you fail to post good content, well, people would not engage with you, and your ranking will drop. So there's a bit of technicality of things. There is, I mean, people could talk about an hour onto that, but yeah, these are some of the key things. Also, profile pictures, I think that's very important too. You got to have a professional profile pictures. I have seen some students and international people having sunnies on the profile pictures, and the profile picture is so zoomed out that you can't see the face. On LinkedIn, wear professional clothes. The profile picture must be zoomed in. Would be good if you're looking into the camera, so people like to gaze your personality, looking into your eyes, try to understand, what you're made of. And these days also, this profile picture gives you an option. Profile picture option gives you a platform to put your video on for 30 seconds or something. So there you are. That's your 30 second to sell yourself. So elevator pitch. If you end up making a great video, well, there you are. Put your video on there on your LinkedIn profile picture, and that will sell you. Make sure to wear professional clothes. Make sure to, just have that as your best pitch possible. So practice that with the right people. Keep practicing until you make it perfect, and that's when you go on to LinkedIn and put that video up, and I'm sure that's going to work wonders. I've seen several very high profile people putting their videos on, and that's very good. Videos engage people more than actual general writing, because then they can see your personality a bit more. Resumes are very important, well, because you don't get a chance to be in front of the people. Your resume does. So your resume has to be 200%, accurate, right? I mean, these days 100% doesn't cut it, right? So the resume has to be perfect. And I did have one pager. Try not to have too many pages in your resume. So it's all about, I went to university, I did a master's degree in communication. So in terms of communication, it's all about keeping it short and simple and meaningful at the very same time. You keep your sentence nice and short, but it has to elaborate everything that you will elaborate from a whole paragraph. It's very difficult. It's very difficult to cut the words, but that's your challenge there. So keep on cutting the words until, but you have to have that as a meaningful, sentence and paragraph as well. I think dot points are very good, and then having the skill sets, say for example, marketing, C++, etc. You can use that towards the left-hand side, so you can grid your CV, right? Without actually putting a grid, so you can use some softwares to be able to do that. So to maximize the spacing on your resume. So when I did my one pager, I actually maximized the space of my CV. So on top, my name, nice and small, name, email, phone number. That's it. And then after, and resume has to be looking appealing as well. So nice font size, not too small and definitely not so big. I see a lot of people have big names, on their resume. I mean, what are they trying to prove? And they are wasting space there. And then after, they end up having 3 or 4 pages CV. It's, so you learn in time. So, name not too big, fonts not too large. It has to look appealing as well. All the spaces has to be perfect there. And try to maximize the space. So on the left, try to put in as many skills as possible, the catchphrase. So say, for example, you have C++, you have marketing, you have Salesforce, all those skills that you have, just put them on the side, because the recruiters, they have softwares in which they are typing in the skills that they're looking for. So their clients say, Salesforce is looking for XYZ skills, in which there could be C++ and Salesforce, right? So all they are looking for in the whole database in which your CV is existing as well, they just put in C++. If you did put in C++ in your CV, then your resume gets flagged, right? So make sure you have all those technical skills mentioned in your CV as much as possible. And then besides that, contacts, references, so references you can provide upon request. You don't have to waste half a page by providing all the references. Leave that, as upon request. So, once you're selected, do that. And try to talk about the achievements of your job, in your job. So, say, for example, you are working for, say, a 5-star hotel. I work for a 5-star hotel. And then I ran marketing programs. So what did those marketing programs do for the hotel? So it raised the revenue by $20 million, overall in 2 years of working there. So I did mention that, okay, so this is what I did for the hotel, and this is something practical, which I did. So the party, on the other hand, they can see practically how you helped out the hotel, rather than just mentioning that I helped out with comms, I helped out with marketing, communications, etc., ran PR campaigns, things like that. It doesn't suffice completely. Versus, when you say like, okay, so you were the catalyst, you were the main person in order to raise the profits of the hotel by $20 million. Well, that's a practical example. So be as clear and succinct as possible in your CV. That's going to take you far. And do not lie. Lies get caught out. Just always be honest, because you just don't want to embarrass. You don't want to be flagged. Sydney or Australia is not too large. if you're flagged into the system, well, you get fined out, and before even getting a nice job, you will be blacklisted. So no to that. So yeah, these are some of the things I could think of. Absolutely. um, Step by step, there's a method to the madness. um, as I mentioned, that you got to have the right mentor. So a right mentor can help you out in so many things in order to become professional, right? Another thing which I mentioned is internship. So when you came to Australia, straight away, if you start to look for an internship, larger organization, of course, you would like to go into a larger organization, but do not underestimate a mid-sized company or even a small company. You'd be more likely to get into these kind of companies. There are so many high profile, there are so many successful and very motivated CEOs and founders in those smaller organizations. And when you go into a smaller organization, you have a lot of chance to learn a lot of trade, versus going into a larger organization where you won't get much responsibility at all, and you'd be doing a tiny task. So, okay, it goes into your CV that you have gone into a big organization. Good for you, but what have you learned practically? Perhaps not so much. Versus when you go into a smaller organization, you might get some responsibilities, because it's hard for those smaller organizations to have employees, to have paid employees. So then they might end up giving you responsibilities, and you would have a lot of chance to be able to learn on the job. So my advice is to go work for a mid-sized company to a small startup. They would value you, actually. They would really value you, and you would learn quite a lot of things from there. So yes, from there you start to build up your experience. Once you have a couple of years of experience, learning lots of trade, etc., perhaps that startup might become successful. There are so many startups out there who have become successful. And so here you are, your initial job of intern turns into a part-time or a full-time job. And then what is a professional job, right? I mean, here you are, the startup is starting to make multi-million dollars on an annual basis. So you started working with a small organization which was making, say, for example, 100, 200,000, and now within a year or two, with having the great people like yourselves, the company started to turn over, $5 to $10 million. Well, that is your professional job to begin with. And as I mentioned, they would value you a lot. So work with them and keep on owning your skill. And maybe later on, if you really wanted to go for a larger organization, just go for it. So it's totally up to you. Who do you want to work for? But this is how you can get into a professional job. And even if you want to start internship at a larger organization, well, try your luck. And if they accept you, well, good for you. Yes, as much I would like to lie about it. It is true that you got to have the right visa to get into the high profile jobs that you're looking for. So being an international student, being on student visa, you can't get into jobs like government jobs or senior corporate jobs. So you have to at least be a permanent resident of Australia to be able to apply, qualify for those jobs. So yes, you do have to have these things. But having said that, you might get sponsored by those organizations. So if you do a bit of a negotiation with those organizations, whether it's a salary negotiation or anything else, they might end up sponsoring you. So it's totally up to you. But this is what I have seen so far. I don't like it. I would like organizations to consider even people with student visas as well, because there are so many brilliant students out there who don't have the permanent residency, and you are not tapping into that. There are millions of international students. They are starting to come, and once again we will have plenty of them again. I must say that if I had a choice, I would definitely hire some of the smartest students, and I have actually hired in my charity those brilliant students from UNSW where I lecture, and these students are very intelligent really, and they're on their feet, and they're very prompt as well. They have time, so they generously provide time to my charity, and they're great. In the Job Ready program that we also run, our next Job Ready program is in association with Ernst& Young, which is happening on the 25th of February, and that will happen online for 2 hours. So yeah, you're welcome to join that. So what happens in there is they prepare you for your soft skills. So how to communicate, in an interview. Even body language is so important. I just want to touch on that briefly. Um, your body posture, your, looking into, using your eyes, and just the way you use your hands, etc. So overall, your body language is so important. You got to know what you're doing, and that can help you, or that can just ruin the interview. So they would talk about the body language, they would talk about the interview skills, they would talk about the resumes. So you got to have a perfect resume, as we discussed, in order to really succeed in the job market. So in a course like that, we would talk about that as well. And they would talk about their companies as well. So or whichever organization we get to bring, like Deloitte or Ernst & Young, they talk about their organizations as well, their policies, their jobs, etc. They introduce you to their organization too. So yeah, that's also part of that. And then after, where is the future of job market? So, say for example, if we are talking about marketing, what's the future of marketing like? So what kind of jobs that you get to see in the line of marketing? So we also touch base on that, and any jobs that those organizations have. So Ernst & Young would talk about their jobs, and in the past Deloitte has talked about their jobs at that point in time, and the way to tap into that. So if you're interested into attending any of these seminars, do keep an eye on Opportunities Australia's website and our social media. From time to time, we do create events like that, and we do have this event which is coming on the 25th of this month. So register on Facebook and LinkedIn, and yeah, you would get a lot of information for free. So all the programs that we get to run, from mentoring to job ready. One more program that we run, which is called Aspiring Entrepreneur Program. So this is when you have finished your studies and you have done some years of working, and then your dream is to start your own business. So that's the final stage. So once you are ready to start your own business, or even you have ideas and you want to learn, because that's a free of charge program for anyone in Australia. So we can accept people, even international students as well. So that's another program that we get to run at Opportunities Australia. Be honest, be hardworking, be humble. And did I say hardworking? Because us from overseas, we do lack sometimes, of course, we do lack in soft skills, but you can supersede that with your hard work and your good nature. So be very humble and be very hardworking, and you'd be surprised how far it takes you. I don't want to brag about myself, but I came as an international student 18 years ago, and here I am. This is the second company I've started. My previous company was an ad agency, and I worked really hard, and I kept myself as honest as possible. And then besides that, community work, you have to put your skin in the game. So you have come to another country, show the country that you care. So you can take part into as many charitable events as possible and try to help out the communities. That's, because I have started a not-for-profit for the communities, this is, something very close to my heart. So no matter what you do for the community, just do something. And actually, that would make you feel great. I've been through several stages in life. I have earned money, and and other things. What I would say is the feeling that these kind of actions that I give to you is helping out people. This is amazing. There's a beautiful feeling. So keep on doing things for the communities, and of course, you have high aims to be successful in your career. So I hope all the things that I mentioned would help you out. But I am here full time working at Opportunities Australia, so to help out people like yourself. So anytime you need something from jobs to mentoring to having ideas about starting your own business, do reach out, and I would love to help you.